welcome to The Economy by Ava. So today I'm going to do a little video on the basic terms you need to know to understand the economy. So the first word is GDP. GDP is the gross domestic product. It is the total value of goods and services produced by a country in a year. So the GDP is a useful indicator of a nation's economic performance, and it is the most commonly used measure of well-being. However, it has really important limitations that you need to understand. So first of all, the GDP is an average, not a mean, so it doesn't take into account the different inequalities of income between the different people of a certain society. Also, it can show, for example, that a country is producing more and more, so it's making more and more money. But we don't know if this production respects basic human rights, if this production respects the environment, if the workers have, for example, free healthcare. So next is GNP, the gross national product. It's the value of all goods and services produced by a country's people, wherever they are located. So by contrast to the GDP, it looks at the value of goods and services produced both domestically and abroad. Let's give a quick example. So the GNP of the United States is $250 billion higher than its GDP due to the high number of production activities by U.S. citizens in overseas countries. A business cycle is a period during which a country's economy goes from growth to recession, a time when business conditions are bad, and back to growth. So here's a little graph so that you understand. As you can see, all economies go through expansion, then a peak, then recession, and then sometimes through depression, and then recovery, and it starts again. So that's why it's a cycle. I'm going to go through the definitions of expansion and recession. So expansion is the part of the business cycle when GDP increases. It keeps increasing until it reaches its peak. Once the GDP has reached its peak, it usually falls. It always falls. This part of the business cycle is known as recession. And then we have depression. Depression is a serious recession that lasts 2 or more years. It involves high unemployment, low output, and low investment. A great example is the Great Depression of 1929 to 1941, with this very famous picture of a desperate woman with her 2 kids. So a regressive tax is a tax in which poor people pay a higher percentage of their income than rich people. That usually happens in developing countries. A progressive tax is the tax rate increases with the taxpayer's income. So this may result in more equitable income distribution, higher revenues, less financial and economic volatility, and faster growth. Direct tax is progressive because it is based on the cardinal principle of ability to pay. Valuation is the action of reducing the rate at which the money can be exchanged for foreign money. Devaluation is the deliberate downward adjustment of a country's currency value, and the government issuing the currency decides to devalue a currency. Devaluing a currency reduces the cost of a country's exports and can help shrink trade deficits. Depreciation is the amount by which a currency loses value in comparison with other currencies. Economic depreciation can be important for asset owners seeking to sell an asset in the open market. Trade balance. A country's trade balance is the difference between how much it exports and how much it imports. Oligopoly market, a situation in which a small number of organizations or companies has control of an area of business so that others have no share. Government policy can discourage or encourage oligopolistic behaviors, and firms in mixed economies often seek government blessings for ways to limit competition. Nevertheless, examples of oligopolies can be found across major industries like oil and gas, airlines, mass media, automobiles, and telecom. Price ceiling, an upper limit set by a government on the price that can be charged for a product or service. A price floor is exactly the same thing except it's a lower limit. Price ceilings and price floors are typically imposed on consumer staples like food, gas, or medicine. Often after a crisis or a particular event that sends costs skyrocketing. Economists worry that price ceilings cause a deadweight loss to an economy, making it more inefficient. This is the end of the video. If you have any questions concerning the different words, please leave it in the comments. I hope that this video helped you to better understand the economy. Also follow me on Instagram. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.